Welcome back to English Talk Time podcast. I'm Ray Yan.
And I'm Maya.
Let me ask you something. Why do some people speak English so smoothly, even with simple words?
Yeah, and others know grammar, no vocabulary, but still struggle to speak.
Exactly, because they don't use the right sentences daily.
Today, we're giving you something powerful.
25 powerful English sentences.
Not random, not boring, but real-life sentences you can start using today.
And if you use them daily, your English will change faster than you think.
So stay till the end, because the last few sentences are game changers.
You know what most people do when they start learning English?
They start memorizing words, right?
Exactly, hundreds, sometimes thousands of words.
But then when it's time to speak, silence.
Complete silence.
It's like their brain just freezes.
And do you know why that happens?
Because they don't know how to connect those words.
Exactly, because real communication is not about words, it's about sentences.
That's powerful.
Think about it. When you speak in your native language,
You don't think word by word.
you think in complete ideas, complete sentences.
That's why it feels natural.
But in English, most learners try to build sentences in their head.
While speaking.
And that delay kills confidence.
And creates fear.
That's why even smart people, even people who understand English,
Still struggle to speak it.
because they are translating instead of responding.
So what's the solution?
Simple, train your brain with ready-made sentences.
Not just one or two, but sentences for real-life situations.
When you repeat sentences daily,
Your brain starts recognizing patterns.
and slowly, speaking becomes automatic.
No thinking, no translating, just speaking.
That's exactly how fluent speakers operate.
They don't build sentences, they recall them.
And once you reach that level,
English becomes easy.
so today, we're not giving you random knowledge.
We're giving you tools you can actually use.
Sentences you can speak today,
In real conversations.
with real people.
And the more you use them.
The more natural your English will sound.
So don't just listen.
Repeat with us,
Practice with us.
and most importantly,
Start using these sentences in your daily life.
now let's move from understanding to actually speaking.
Because knowing is one thing, but using is everything.
Exactly, and this is where most learners fail.
They understand English, but they don't use it daily.
So today, we're giving you sentences you can use immediately.
Not tomorrow, not next week, today.
Imagine this, you're talking to someone.
And suddenly, you need a moment to think.
Most people panic, or stay silent.
But a fluent speaker simply says, "Give me a second."
Simple, natural, confident.
And the conversation continues smoothly.
Now another situation, someone asks you something.
But you're not ready to answer.
Instead of awkward silence, you say, "I'll get back to you."
That sounds professional and confident.
Now think about understanding someone.
Instead of just nodding.
You say, "That makes sense."
And instantly, you sound more engaged.
But what if you didn't hear properly?
Most learners say what again and again.
But a better way is, "I didn't catch that."
That one sentence alone makes you sound more fluent.
Let's go deeper.
Sometimes, you need time to decide.
Instead of rushing, say, "Let me think about it."
That shows control.
That shows confidence.
And that shows maturity in your speaking.
Now here's something important.
These sentences are simple.
Very simple.
But their power is not in difficulty.
Their power is in usage.
The more you use them,
The more natural they become.
and slowly, your fear disappears.
Because now, you don't feel lost in conversations.
You have something ready to say.
That's the difference between beginners and fluent speakers.
Fluent speakers always have something ready,
Not because they are smarter.
but because they are prepared.
So here's what you need to do.
Don't just listen to these sentences.
Pause this, repeat them.
Use them with your friends.
Use them in your daily life.
Even if your English is not perfect.
Start using these lines today.
Because fluency doesn't come from perfection.
It comes from repetition.
And confidence comes from action.
So from this moment,
No more hesitation.
no more overthinking.
Just start speaking.
Now let's talk about something deeper.
Not just sentences, but confidence.
Because the real problem is not English.
It's fear.
Fear of making mistakes.
Fear of being judged.
Fear of sounding wrong.
And because of that fear,
People stay silent.
even when they know what to say,
Exactly, their mind has the words.
but their mouth refuses to speak.
So today, We're not just giving sentences,
We're giving you a new mindset.
sentences that train your brain to feel confident.
Because what you say shapes how you feel.
And how you feel shapes how you speak.
So let's begin.
First sentence, I believe I can do it.
Sounds simple, but listen carefully.
When you say this, you are telling your brain
That you are capable.
that you are not weak.
That you are improving.
And the more you repeat it.
The more your confidence grows.
Second sentence, I'm working on improving myself.
This is powerful.
Because it removes pressure.
You don't need to be perfect.
You just need to be improving.
And when you say this to others,
You sound honest and real.
now third, I'll figure it out.
This is the mindset of winners.
Not I can't. Not it's hard.
But I'll find a way.
And that attitude changes everything.
Fourth, I'm not afraid to try.
This one breaks fear.
Because most people don't fail.
They just don't try.
And when you start saying this,
Your actions begin to change.
now think about this.
Imagine you are in a conversation.
And you make a mistake.
What do most people do?
They stop speaking.
They feel embarrassed.
But a confident learner says,
It's okay, I'm learning.
that one sentence removes pressure.
And gives you freedom to speak.
Because now, you are not trying to be perfect.
You are trying to improve.
And that shift changes everything.
Let's go deeper.
Confidence is not something you wait for.
It's something you build.
One sentence at a time.
One conversation at a time.
And every time you speak,
Even if it's not perfect.
you are growing.
You are improving.
You are becoming fluent.
Slowly, but surely.
So stop waiting for the perfect moment.
Stop waiting to feel ready.
Because that moment will never come.
You become ready by speaking.
By making mistakes.
By trying again.
And again.
And again.
So from today,
Use these sentences.
not just in practice,
But in real life.
say them out loud.
Feel them.
Believe them.
And watch how your confidence starts changing.
Because once your mindset changes,
Your English changes automatically.
now, this is where things start to change completely.
Because now, you're not just speaking.
You're communicating like a smart person.
Like someone who knows how to handle conversations.
You know, there's a big difference.
Between speaking English and speaking well.
Exactly. Some people speak simple English.
But they sound confident, clear, and intelligent.
And others, even with good grammar.
Still sound unsure, confused.
So what's the difference?
The way they express their thoughts.
The sentences they use.
The tone they create.
So today, we're stepping into that level.
Where you don't just talk.
You make an impact.
Let's begin.
Imagine you're in a discussion.
Someone shares an idea.
Instead of just saying, okay,
You say, That's an interesting point.
now listen to that again.
That's an interesting point.
Instantly, you sound thoughtful.
You sound engaged.
You sound like someone who listens.
And people respect that.
Now, next level, giving your opinion.
Many learners hesitate here.
Because they don't know how to start.
But here's a powerful sentence.
From my perspective,
That's it.
simple start, but very strong.
Now you can continue your idea confidently.
Let's take it further.
Agreeing with someone.
Instead of saying just, yes,
Say, I completely agree with you.
now your response feels stronger,
More natural.
more fluent.
But what if you don't agree?
This is where most people struggle.
They either stay silent or sound rude.
But here's the solution.
I see your point, but
That sentence is powerful.
because it shows respect.
And still allows you to share your opinion.
That's how real conversations work.
Not fighting, but exchanging ideas.
Now let's go deeper into real-life situations.
Imagine you're talking to someone new.
And you want to keep the conversation going.
Instead of awkward silence,
You say, What do you think about that?
now you're involving them.
You're building connection.
And conversations start flowing naturally.
This is how fluent speakers think.
They don't wait for silence.
They guide the conversation.
Now another powerful situation.
When you don't fully understand something,
Instead of pretending,
or staying quiet,
say, Can you explain that a bit more?
That shows confidence.
Because confident people are not afraid to ask.
They are curious.
And curiosity makes you a better speaker.
Now listen carefully to this.
Smart conversation is not about big words.
It's about the right sentences at the right time.
Even simple sentences,
Can make you sound fluent.
if you use them naturally.
And consistently.
Let's go even deeper.
Imagine you're in a group conversation.
People are talking, sharing ideas.
And you feel nervous to speak.
But then, you use a simple line.
That reminds me of something.
And suddenly, you enter the conversation.
Smoothly, naturally.
That's the power of sentence patterns.
They give you entry points.
They remove hesitation.
They build flow.
And once you have flow,
Speaking becomes easy.
so from today,
Stop trying to sound perfect.
start trying to sound natural.
Because natural speaking,
Is what people connect with.
not perfection.
Use these sentences daily.
In small conversations.
In simple situations.
With friends, with family.
Even alone, practice them.
Speak out loud.
Feel the rhythm.
Feel the confidence.
Because the more you use them,
The more they become part of you.
and one day,
You won't even think.
you'll just speak.
Smoothly, confidently, naturally.
Now we're entering something very powerful.
This is where your English starts to feel alive.
Because real conversations are not planned.
They happen instantly.
You don't get time to think.
You just react.
And that's where most learners struggle.
Because their brain is still translating.
And by the time they think,
The moment is already gone.
exactly, the conversation moves on.
And they stay silent.
But fluent speakers,
They react immediately.
not because they are faster.
But because they have ready-made reaction sentences.
And today, we're giving you those.
So you never feel stuck again.
Let's start with surprise.
Imagine someone tells you something shocking.
Most learners freeze.
But a fluent speaker says, "No way."
Short, powerful, natural.
And it fits in almost every situation.
Now let's go deeper.
Someone tells you something unbelievable.
You say, I can't believe it.
That sentence shows emotion.
It makes your response feel real.
Because communication is not just words.
It's feeling.
It's expression.
Now imagine something really crazy happens.
Something unexpected.
You say, that's crazy.
And instantly, you sound natural.
Now let's take it further.
Someone is joking, or saying something hard to believe.
You respond, you've got to be kidding me.
That's advanced.
That's how native speakers talk.
And once you start using these,
Your English level feels different.
not textbook, but real.
Now here's something important.
Reaction sentences are powerful because they are fast.
You don't need to think.
You just feel and speak.
And when you do that,
Your confidence increases instantly.
because now, you are part of the conversation.
Not just listening, but reacting.
Let's go even deeper.
Imagine someone shares good news.
Instead of staying quiet,
You say, "That's amazing."
or, I'm so happy for you.
Now your English sounds warm,
Friendly.
human,
And people connect with you more.
because you're not just speaking.
You're expressing.
Now think about bad situations.
Someone tells you something sad.
You say, I'm really sorry to hear that.
That one sentence
Shows empathy.
shows maturity.
Shows emotional intelligence.
And this is what makes a great speaker.
Not just language, but connection.
Now listen carefully.
This is very important.
Fluency is not about speaking long sentences.
It's about speaking at the right moment.
Even short reactions,
Can make you sound fluent.
if they are natural.
And well-timed.
That's why native speakers,
Use short reactions all the time.
because they keep conversations alive.
They create flow.
And once you learn this,
You stop feeling left out.
you stop feeling slow.
You start feeling confident.
Now imagine this.
You're in a group.
People are talking, laughing, reacting.
And before, you used to stay quiet.
But now?
You jump in.
No way.
That's crazy.
I can't believe it.
And suddenly,
You are part of the conversation.
fully involved.
That's the transformation.
From silent to active speaker.
And it starts with simple reactions.
Repeated daily.
Practiced naturally.
Used in real life.
So from today,
Don't just listen to English.
react in English.
Feel in English.
Express in English.
Because that's how fluency is built.
Not by thinking.
But by responding.
Instantly.
Naturally.
Confidently. Now, this is where everything starts to become real.
Because until now, we talked about understanding, confidence, reactions.
But this chapter is about your daily life.
Because if English is not part of your daily routine,
You will keep starting and stopping.
again and again,
And that's the biggest problem, inconsistency.
people learn for 2 days.
Then they stop.
Then they start again.
And they never build momentum.
So today, we're fixing that.
We're going to connect English with your everyday actions.
So you don't need extra time.
You just need awareness.
Let's begin from the moment you wake up.
You open your eyes.
First thought, say it in English.
I just woke up.
Simple, but powerful.
Now you get out of bed.
Say, I need to get ready.
You go to the washroom.
You don't stay silent.
You think, I'm brushing my teeth.
I'm getting ready for the day.
Now listen carefully.
These are not big sentences.
But they are daily sentences.
And daily practice creates real change.
Now you're getting dressed.
Say, what should I wear today?
You're preparing to leave.
I'm heading out.
That one sentence.
You will use almost every day.
Now imagine this.
You're outside, going somewhere.
You say, I'll be there in 10 minutes.
Or, I'm on my way.
These are real-life sentences.
Used by fluent speakers every day.
Now let's move forward.
During the day, you feel tired.
Instead of thinking in your native language,
Say, I'm feeling tired today.
or I need a break.
That's how you shift your thinking.
Step by step.
Moment by moment.
Now here's something very important.
You don't need to sit for hours to learn English.
You need to live in English,
Even for small moments.
because those small moments.
Build big results.
Let's go deeper.
Imagine you're eating.
Say, this tastes really good.
Or, I'm really hungry.
Now you're watching something.
Say, this is interesting.
Or, I don't understand this part.
You see what's happening.
You are turning your life into practice.
Without extra effort.
Without pressure.
Just natural learning.
Now imagine doing this every day.
Morning, afternoon, evening.
Small sentences, repeated daily.
Your brain starts adapting.
It stops translating.
It starts thinking directly in English.
And that,
Is the real breakthrough.
because once you start thinking in English,
Speaking becomes automatic.
no fear,
No hesitation.
just flow.
Natural flow.
Let's go even deeper.
Most people wait for the perfect time to practice.
But there is no perfect time.
There is only this moment,
Right now,
where you can start.
one sentence at a time,
One thought at a time.
and slowly.
That becomes a habit.
And that habit becomes fluency.
That's the system.
Not magic,
Not talent.
just daily repetition.
And conscious effort.
So from today,
Don't separate English from your life.
make it part of your life.
Speak while you walk.
Think while you eat.
Practice while you live.
Because the more you connect English with your routine,
The faster you improve.
and one day,
You'll realize something surprising.
you're not trying to speak English anymore.
You're just speaking.
Naturally
Effortlessly.
and confidently. Now, this is the final step.
The level where everything connects.
Not just sentences, not just practice.
But real fluency.
The kind of fluency where you don't stop to think.
You just speak, naturally.
You know, most people believe fluency means speaking fast.
Or using difficult words.
But that's not true.
Real fluency is simple.
It's about speaking clearly,
Calmly.
confidently.
And expressing your thoughts without fear.
And that's what these final sentences will give you.
They are small, but powerful.
Simple, but advanced in feeling.
Let's begin.
Imagine someone asks you a question.
But the answer is not simple.
Instead of getting stuck,
You say, it depends on the situation.
that sentence is gold
Because it gives you time.
and shows maturity.
Now you control the conversation.
Next, handling small problems.
Many learners panic easily.
But a fluent speaker says, that's not a big deal.
Calm, relaxed, confident.
That tone alone changes how people see you.
Now let's go deeper.
Sometimes you need to express honesty.
Real honesty.
You say, I'm just trying to be honest.
That builds trust.
That builds connection.
That makes your communication real.
Now imagine you explaining something important.
And you want to summarize your idea.
You say, at the end of the day,
That sounds advanced.
that sounds natural.
That sounds fluent.
Now one of the most powerful sentences.
Listen carefully.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
That one sentence.
Creates instant connection.
It shows agreement.
It shows understanding.
And it makes conversations smoother.
Now let's go deeper into the real transformation.
Because this is not just about sentences.
This is about how you think,
How you react.
how you express yourself.
Imagine your old self.
Quiet,
Hesitant.
overthinking every word.
Afraid of mistakes.
Now imagine your new self.
Calm.
Speaking naturally.
Using simple but powerful sentences.
Responding without fear.
Expressing thoughts clearly.
That transformation.
Is not magic.
It's practice.
Daily practice.
With the right sentences.
Used in the right way.
Now listen carefully, this is important.
You don't need to learn everything.
You just need to master the basics.
Deeply, consistently.
Because fluency is not about knowing more.
It's about using what you know.
Again and again.
Until it becomes natural.
Until it becomes automatic.
Until it becomes you.
Let's go even deeper.
Many learners compare themselves to others.
They feel slow.
They feel behind.
But the truth is,
Everyone has their own journey.
and your only job,
Is to improve a little every day.
one sentence better today,
One conversation better tomorrow.
and slowly,
You become fluent.
not overnight.
But step by step.
Now imagine this moment,
You're speaking to someone.
and for the first time,
You don't feel nervous.
you don't feel stuck.
You don't feel afraid.
You just speak,
Naturally.
confidently.
Smoothly.
That moment will come,
If you stay consistent.
if you keep practicing.
If you keep using these sentences.
Because fluency is not far away.
It's built.
Every single day.
With small efforts.
Small sentences.
And strong mindset.
So from today,
Don't doubt yourself.
don't hold back.
Don't wait.
Start speaking.
Start practicing.
Start growing.
Because your fluent version.
Is already inside you.
You just need to bring it out.
So here's the truth.
Fluency is not something you wait for.
It's something you build.
One sentence at a time.
Most people spend years learning English,
But never start speaking.
not because they can't.
But because they don't use what they know.
And today, that changes.
Because now, you have 25 powerful sentences.
Not just to learn.
But to use.
In real life.
In real conversations.
Every single day.
Remember.
You don't need perfect grammar.
You don't need big vocabulary.
You just need the courage to speak.
And the habit to repeat.
Because the more you speak,
The more confident you become.
and the more confident you become.
The more fluent you sound.
So don't stop here.
Don't just listen and forget.
Start today.
Right now.
Use one sentence.
Then another.
Then another.
And slowly.
English will become part of your life.
Not a subject.
But a skill.
A natural skill.
And before you go,
We want to hear from you.
from where are you listening?
And what time is it in your country right now?
Drop it in the comments.
And if this episode helped you,
Don't forget to like
subscribe to English Talk Time podcast.
and share this with someone who wants to improve their English.
Because learning together is always better.
We'll see you in the next episode.
Until then,
Keep practicing
keep speaking.
and keep growing.